It is our pleasure to have Charlie Weis back on the show this morning. Hey, Charlie.
Good morning. How's everyone doing up there in lovely Boston?
We are great. How is Florida?
Toasty, like every day.
Yeah.
Toasty is pretty much the same. You wake up, go for my morning bike ride before the heat gets, really bad. The same thing every day. It's Groundhog Day.
Wiggy's been on a bike of late around here.
Yeah, electric bike, though. Does most of the work.
Yeah. You think, hold it, Wiggy stopped exercising when he was about 25. So,
Well, Wiggy, we were talking a little bit ago about the quarterback situation here. And Wiggy believes that Jerod Mayo is making a mistake when it comes to coming into camp and identifying Jacoby Brissett as the one, and when it comes to reps and the fact that he is getting more of those than Drake Maye. Where do you stand on that this morning?
well, I don't think it's close. I think that Jacoby clearly is number one. I think that Drake, let's face it, when you draft a quarterback high in the first round, he's going to be your starting quarterback. But, Jacoby is just not just a guy. Jacoby is a legit NFL caliber quarterback. He might not be a quarterback that'll win you a Super Bowl, but he's a quarterback that can lead your team. And, where Drake Maye probably has more talent than Jacoby, I think that the knowledge base and the experience base is there's such a wide discrepancy that I think that you're not forced to throw Drake Maye to the wolves and just put him in there right from the start.
Well, how important is it nowadays, Charlie, especially with the turnaround when it comes to coaches, that you have to show that you can win early? But how is it important to have a guy that you draft number 3 overall and make a decision to put him and sit him down, knowing that your future as a coach, could be very short if you don't win?
Wiggy, they're not going to sit him for long. They're just going to sit him to start and then see how it goes. I think that Mayo's in a unique situation where he could ease him in when they think the time is right. Sometimes you get a situation, a rare situation like how C.J. Stroud played. Now, everyone wants to look at Stroud and think, well, that's the rule. Let's face it, that's the exception, not the rule. I think that the Patriots are in a good situation in the quarterback because they're not forced to go ahead and play Drake Maye right from the start. And when they feel the time's ready, they put him in there.
Charlie, we've been talking a lot, though, about maybe baptism by fire. Like, get him in there, get him acclimated to the league, and have him figure it out. What is the downside to that?
Well, he's going to get that. It's just you don't need to start out like that. You don't have to just put him in right from the start. Right now everyone's got not in New England. Everyone outside of New England has the Patriots pegged for 4th in the division. So from my perspective, you put Jacoby in there and see whether or not your team is significantly better than everyone thinks it is. And if it's not significantly better than what everyone thinks it is, then you put him in there and you'll still have plenty of time in this first year to get his baptism under fire accomplished. You just don't need to start off the first game that way.
Charlie, when you look at this situation, is there any familiarity when you talk about like whether to sit a rookie of this high or whether to play? Because you were in New England and you were there for the Bledsoe draft, correct?
I was.
And Drew was a guy, it's been a while, but when he came in, did he play right away, or was it something that you and when you start to think about what some of the situations with him and Parcells were to kind of sit him a little bit?
Well, he played right away for two reasons. One, he was so much better than the incumbent, number one. And then two, the team was terrible. So, I mean, no one expected the team to be a playoff caliber team that first year. So when the team is terrible and no one expects them to be a playoff team in the first year, it's a little different than, I mean, right now, if I'm in a Patriot building, I'm not throwing in the towel on this season before the season's even started. Because tell me in the AFC East who the favorite is.
Well, they're under Charlie. They're underdogs in every single game. I mean,
yeah, but I can't even tell you who the favorite in the division is.
I think it's the Jets,
So,
but
okay,
maybe Buffalo.
Buffalo, Miami, the Jets. All three of those teams are being talked about in different capacities. So until I know that we're going to be fourth in the division, or it looks like we're battling not for a playoff spot, but just trying to get somewhere near 500. Until I know that's the case, I'm going to go into the season figuring we have a fighting chance. At that time, we inherited a team that had won, one or two games, I forget what it was, when Bledsoe came in, but the team was coming off either a 1-win or a 2-win season. It's a totally different scenario in my perspective.
Charlie, we've been having fun off-season conversations, and last week we did a where would Brady rank among NFL quarterbacks today if he just came back. Just curious about where you think he would be at 47 in a couple days if he decided to. If the 49ers called again, where would you put Brady at 47 among all the quarterbacks getting ready to play this season?
Are you telling me I'm putting him on the 49ers?
Yeah.
You know, I put him in the top 10 to top 5, you know, if it was the 49ers. If he's coming back with the Patriots, I'd probably say he's more middle of the pack.
But he's done, though, right? You don't think there's any shot he gets incentivized to return?
No. I think it's one thing getting divorced, and one thing is your kids disowning you. The two different things. I think his kids would disown him.
Semi-retired Bill seems like he's living his best life. Have you spoken to Bill Belichick at all, Charlie?
Oh, I'm not touching that baby. I'm not.
He is.
You guys know better than I might be dumb, but I'm not stupid. Okay, I'm not touching that.
Do you think, how soon is he coaching again? If he is, I'll ask you that.
Well, if he coaches, it's going to be next year. I mean, I don't think there's any question if he wants to coach this time around, there'll be a spot for him because there's a couple of teams that owners have high expectations. And if their teams don't deliver, I mean, what better coach to go get? If you have high expectations for your organization, you know, I don't think Bill wants to go through a rebuild, and I don't think they want him to go through a rebuild. But I think that there's going to be some opportunities out there. So if Bill wants to coach, he won't be sitting out for long. Because let's face it, what's the one caveat? What's the one carrot that's dangling out there? The fact that he's so close to being the winningest coach in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
So if he wants to coach, he obviously doesn't need the money. It's not about the money. I mean, you know, so it's just a question about if he wants to coach, there'll be opportunities this year, and they'll be with teams where the owner's expectation is for the team to win. And then tell me who is in the competition if you want to bring somebody in who's been there or done that.
Charlie, where do you fall when it comes to guys sitting out because of their contract negotiations? There were a lot of question marks about Judon and Godchow. Judon's been partaking in training camp, but Godchow seems to be frustrated, sitting on the sidelines, showing up late to training camp. Where do you fall on that?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of players sitting out when they're under contract. I'm just not a fan. I understand the player's perspective. I do. I understand the player's perspective. Okay, but I was groomed under. You mentioned it before. I was groomed under Belichick. I was groomed under Parcells, and it's all about the team. And what is about the team when you're under contract and you're holding out? I mean, I don't understand how in any way that benefits the team.
All right, Charlie, the 4.5 wins, this Patriots team, are you taking the over or the under this season?
Oh, I'm taking the over. I mean, I'm not batting an eye taking the over.
Okay.
Not batting an eye.
Charlie, last one for me. What do you think the hardest thing for Bill is, I would say, this year not coaching? I guess, as players, we go through it when we're no longer playing that first year out. And I believe coaches probably go through the same thing. What do you think the potentially is the hardest thing that he might have to deal with not being able to coach, at least for this year, and that might lead him back to coaching next year?
So this is an easy one, okay, because this is a setup question, I could tell. The hottest thing is his girlfriend, right? I mean,
I think
that
he
was
said,
such an easy layup. I mean, why don't you just give me a bounce
I
pass?
said hottest.
Let me get on a jumpaline and slam it home.
Charlie, he said,
I can't jump more than 2 inches.
He said hardest,
not
hottest, but you could answer the same. You could answer the same way.
Okay.
All right.
I have one last one, if I could sneak it in.
Yes.
Charlie, what? Let's get back to football, you silly kids. What does Gerard Mayo not know yet about how hard it is to be in charge of an NFL team?
Well, it's easy to sit there and second guess head coaches' decisions. I've been in that seat close to the head coach where why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Well, when you're the one who has to make those decisions, the time management decisions or the ballsy decision, like, do you want to go for it here or do you want to punt? And all the media second guesses you when it doesn't work and gives you adulation when it does work. It's a lot different when you're making a call than when you're watching the call.
Charlie, it is always a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
You got it. Tell everyone up in New England that they have a warm spot in my heart and the heart of my entire family.
Oh, all right, Charlie. Yep. There he is, the great Charlie Weis, out on his bike.
Yep.
Making his way around Florida, Wiggy.
Yeah, it's
girlfriend line was perfect.
Yes.